Severe weather will be making a return to the U.S. today. Starting with, we have a moderate risk for Kansas up into a little part of Nebraska. This is for Wichita, and Topeka is just barely in this. This will be with a 15% double hatch tornado threat, which is basically saying EF3 plus tornadoes are possible, which that is strong to possibly even violent tornadoes. But if we go over here to our models and we look at, just start with the dew points, we're going to be talking about having potentially 70, 374 dew points in this area. At around 2, there's about 3 o'clock, we have 74 potentially. That's going to be this evening, but here's what the future radar could look like as we go out throughout the day. If you put it into scale, we may have some storms start to fire here around 3 o'clock. Really depends on if we'll have a tornado threat with these. They may not be as tornadic as they could. Without a doubt, these storms will probably have a tornado threat. It's just, will they be able to be isolated enough to have a strong to violent tornado threat is kind of the question. And then we could have another round of supercells fire up down to the south. They could also carry a threat. And then the storms will probably form into a line at about 7 or so o'clock. Again, that could happen earlier. That's really the big question right now. And then they'll turn into a QLCS tornado threat, which is basically tornadoes spinning up on a whole line of storms instead of isolated, which usually brings usually a good many tornadoes, but they're usually on the weaker side. In this environment, I think a strong tornado could be possible in a QLCS line, but again, usually they only last for like 5-10 minutes. They're very rarely they're ever violent kind of tornadoes. Then the line will push off, but we also have a SIG 2 45% hail threat for this area. Very large hail will be likely. Followed with a 30% SIG 1 wind threat. I wouldn't be surprised if they upgraded this wind threat. I know yesterday we had several extremely dangerous severe thunderstorm warnings for strong winds. As well as we had a QLCS tornado threat. But earlier, before all that happened, we actually had a tornado emergency issued back up over in here. And then we also had a very strong to violent tornado somewhere right back up in here. It will probably likely be rated EF2 plus, EF3 probably. But there's also, in the next hour, they're most likely going to issue a tornado watch with a 65% chance of a watch, and they're saying EF4 tornadoes are possible in this area, and they're also saying 4+ inch hail is possible with 80-mile-an-hour winds. As we go out throughout the day, this is basically what they issue before they issue a watch most of the time. It's basically just the Weather Service basically saying what they think. But that will be out up over here. And if we look at satellite, it is kind of a little bit cloudy out up over here. But we already have a few little storms trying to go up. It'll be interesting to see how today continues to play out. Again, like I said, we had a tornado emergency yesterday with a very strong tornado. But that will be it for this forecast video. Be sure to like and subscribe if you like it. See you in the next one.